The Economic Times, which is actually a publication based out of India, recently came out with some price speculations for XRP. Now, I was reading what they had written, and it's largely based on technical indicators, but in this video I'm going to tell you about a couple of things that they wrote, what their high predictions are, what their low predictions are, and predictions outside of any Bitcoin or Win versus the SEC could have in store for XRP for both 2022 and 2023. And it's very interesting to see how another publication outside of the United States views this. Also, some news in the government, as Secretary Janet Yellen has recently made some statements about cryptocurrencies that some are taking as bad news and others are taking as good news. So I'm going to tell you what she said and let you guys make the decision. And it's a market news right now as the Bitcoin conference is going on down in Miami. Well, everybody always wonders why the price of Bitcoin tanks during these conferences. Well, we're going to take a quick look at a chart and see what's actually going on, because it has nothing to do with the conference. Hey everyone, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel, we are covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, but I'm also covering cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Late Night Grind community. Also, don't forget to check out my Patreon in the link below, where I'm producing more in-depth content on how to make money from the cryptocurrency industry. So if you check that out, smash the thumbs up button and watch this video all the way to the end. Those are the best things you can do to support a YouTube channel. So if you do that, I greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, let's jump into it. All right, so currently the price of Bitcoin continues to run downwards, and as I'm visiting Twitter, everybody wants to know why. Everybody likes to make the speculation that every time Miami hosts its annual Bitcoin conference, although this is really just the second year, that the price of Bitcoin tanks during this conference. And really, it has nothing to do with the conference at all. So if we bring up the chart and look at the 4-hour time frame, you can see that it's basically ranging and has been for about the past month and a half. This really has nothing to do with the conference. It hit a resistance zone and it's heading down to a support zone. The question is, will it actually hit 39,000 before it continues an upward trend? Because I believe that is the direction that it's headed. In talking more markets, XRP reclaimed the 7th spot as the 7th largest crypto by market cap just today. Now, my previous video, I talked about how it lost not only the 7th spot, but the 8th spot to both Cardano and Terra Luna. Also, I want to make a correction. In my previous video, I called it Luna Terra. It is Terra Luna. But nonetheless, XRP back on top. Some of the speculation, that is because the ODL has been getting more and more banking and institutional usage, signing up to use that on-demand liquidity product and use XRP. Because Bitcoin has been pulling back, so did Cardano, which is down 1% just today. Terra Luna is down almost 7% today, and thus XRP reclaimed that spot because it didn't fall nearly as much. And right now, XRP is about 78 cents, but I'm going to take a look at some price predictions from what the Economic Times said later in this video. But for now, I wanted to talk about some of the regulation and government aspects that the US government has been talking about and bringing up cryptocurrencies recently. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has been in the news several times talking about cryptocurrencies because for the most part she's been somewhat negative about it, instilling some fear about it, and most of that has to do with, I believe, that those people are not getting the proper education about how blockchain actually works. So in the statement she made yesterday, some people took this as a good thing and some people took it as a bad thing. And according to Twitter user Cowen Post, here's what she said. "We are aware of the possibility, clearly, that crypto could be used as a tool to evade sanctions, and we're carefully monitoring that to make sure that doesn't occur. But I would say we have a good deal of authority in this area, and we are using it and will use it. It's harder on a larger scale for an economy to actually use crypto to evade sanctions," which is probably true. "Large-scale transactions would become more apparent by those who regularly examine the blockchain." This is also true. There is a bunch of people that regularly examine the blockchain and alert people when there's massive transactions that go through. In fact, you can sign up for some of them and watch them on Twitter. For context, a lot of Congress folks, mostly Democrats, are really trying to portray crypto as a focal point for Russian sanctions evasions. It came up repeatedly in this hearing, but Yellen is flat denying the need for more statutory authority over crypto. Although, according to Cowen Post, he said stablecoins are accepted. And I'm going to make a point about stablecoins. So Secretary Janet Yellen seems to at least a little bit soften her stance on cryptocurrencies as a way of basically just being used for money laundering, evading sanctions, and other illicit transactions. Because as she's finding out, everything is traced on the blockchain. Literally, they can literally trace everything on the blockchain. Because if an entire country wants to do this at scale, it would be unbelievably difficult to do so, to transact probably hundreds of millions, billions of dollars worth of cryptocurrencies in order to evade sanctions. There would be a lot of eyes on that. So I get what she's saying. And so I get what some of these other people are saying that, well, if you have all kinds of people putting their eyes on cryptocurrencies, there could be other types of regulations and rules that could be put in place that don't necessarily need to be. And others that say, no, listen, this is what we've been saying for a long time. Everything can be traced on the blockchain, so why would somebody use it to evade sanctions if they're just going to get caught? But nonetheless, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about that. And speaking of some regulation, Senator Toomey, who is actually a senator from my state of Pennsylvania, recently put out a proposal regarding stablecoins. And what he wants to do is kind of a three-pronged approach, as it was described in this proposal, which was called the Trust Act. And so in this, Senator Toomey actually proposed that those companies, those blockchain and fintech companies issuing stablecoins, would essentially have to abide by certain types of regulations, certain types of disclosures, and certain types of audits on a regular basis. And they would actually have to disclose things like what their stablecoin is actually backed by, which of course is the point of some of these audits. But it would also come with the disclosure that these stablecoins are not securities. Now, that's a step in the right direction, especially for security. So this is something I'm going to keep an eye on because stablecoins is not something that is in Gary Gensler, the chair of the SEC's wheelhouse. He is not a fan of stablecoins. He's mentioned that they are basically just casino chips at a casino several times. So we're going to see what Senator Toomey, who is one of the more ranking members in the Senate Banking Committee, has over somebody like Gary Gensler, who's obviously not a fan of the stablecoins. So if you want to make sure to keep an eye on this, make sure you subscribe to the Late Night Grind. All right, let's get into this price prediction for XRP brought by the Economic Times, which is a publication out of India. And so what their speculation was largely due based on some technical analysis, some technical factors, and they kind of downplayed what the role in the case of the SEC versus Ripple was actually doing. So I'm going to go over some of their price predictions and what I actually think about that. So from a technical analysis, they said, well, in a good year, well, in a bad year, meaning if cryptocurrency is kind of in that bear market, if Ripple loses the case against the SEC, you're probably going to see a pullback to as low as 19 cents for XRP. Maybe that's a possibility. However, they said in a good year, some of the technicals show that $1.02 to $1.27 is looking imminent in the near term for XRP, regardless of anything that has to do with Bitcoin or the case versus the SEC for Ripple. However, what they did say was that the technicals point to a $4 XRP, strictly looking at the charts, and I kind of have to agree on that. Now, they did mention that some of the other analysis available in the internet showed an $8 to $10 XRP, and they didn't necessarily agree with that analysis. But from what I'm looking at, $8 to $10 XRP is really only in the case of a win versus the SEC for Ripple, giving XRP regulatory clarity and dramatically opening up things like liquidity and adoption for institutional markets, for banking sectors, for anything in the financial markets that starts in the United States and spreads throughout the world. Now, we're already seeing some big adoption for the ODL, the on-demand liquidity system for Ripple's products. I can't imagine the astronomical growth that's going to come with regulatory clarity of XRP. So it was interesting reading something coming out of the India Times that they probably might not pay attention to some of the insights, some of the institutional issues, some of the banking issues that are actually following this Ripple versus the SEC case, because I believe that there are huge institutions with massive amounts of money and liquidity waiting to use RippleNet's products and have some dramatic cost savings for things like cross-border payments, instant settlements, you know the whole bit. If you follow XRP, you know all that. So it was an interesting read. However, I'm going to have to somewhat disagree with them. I think in the short term, they're probably right on, and that $1 and that $1.02 to $1.27, that is probably a good price target, absent anything to do with Ripple and the SEC, or even a massive run by Bitcoin, which could be possible this year. So we will have to see. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you watching all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.